Welcome to Beatsource Tech. My name is Mojaxx and I've now been testing and using different Jico Stylus replacements for Shure's M44 carts for over 6 years. In this episode, we're looking at their latest and perhaps most interesting version to date, the SD. When I first reviewed Jico's M44 Styli back in 2018, it was a few months before Shure actually stopped making the carts themselves, so they were cool but not exactly essential. After that discontinuation, the market changed and OG Shure Styli started going for stupid money on the aftermarket. I still see that sometimes to this day, and finding good quality replacements became far more important to a lot more people. All through that period, Jico were producing variations of their existing designs for both the M44-7 and the M44G with a standard bonded stylus, which means that the diamond tip is bonded to a metal shank. That's how nearly all DJ Styli have been made in the past. But then, around a year ago, the company stepped up a gear. They created their own versions of the M44 cartridges themselves, one which has a sound close to the OG and the big bass-forward impact, designed in conjunction with Toshi Nakama, formerly of Vestax, who has sadly passed away since. And at the same time, they released new versions of the Styli which feature a nude stylus, where the whole stylus is one piece of diamond, there is no metal shank. I reviewed those and liked them a lot, and I still do. The tracking and durability are superb, and the sound quality is more detailed than on the older bonded models. They have one downside, however, and that is they aren't cheap. You're looking at around $170 in the US for a pair, which makes them more expensive than all but the most pricey Autophon Concord Styli, and worlds away from what the OG Shures used to cost, even taking inflation into account. But now, in what is clearly an effort to offer a more affordable option, Jico have introduced the new SD or synthetic diamond versions, which is what we're looking at today. Why synthetic diamond and not another bonded stylus? Well, it seems that Jico were experiencing material shortages for their bonded stylus tips. That's been an ongoing issue, and I believe partly why Shure themselves gave up making them in the first place. But what is a synthetic diamond? I'll quote Jico themselves here. Synthetic diamonds refer to diamonds that are artificially created and share the same chemical composition, crystal structure, and optical/physical properties as natural diamonds. While natural diamonds, ND, are those formed naturally, synthetic diamonds, SD, are manufactured and therefore referred to as synthetic diamonds. Natural diamonds vary in hardness due to their natural formation, whereas synthetic diamonds offer the advantage of consistent hardness. Synthetic diamonds are more affordable compared to natural diamonds, and their supply is stable, making them suitable for a wide range of applications. So that's the science, and on paper that sounds great, but what are the SD versions actually like to use? Well, firstly let's get the whole 7 and G thing out of the way. Since day one, Jico have nailed the different profiles of the two variations of stylus, matching closely with how the Shure originals were. The 44G is balanced and detailed with an output voltage of 6 mV, but sounds a lot calmer and less dynamic than the 44-7, which is impactful and punchy and has a higher output voltage of 8 mV. I'm definitely a 44-7 kind of DJ myself, but if you mostly play, say, deep house and techno, or smoother music in general, then I can definitely see the appeal of the 44G. Both versions of the SD stylus track at 3.5 to 4.5 grams, so 4 grams basically, and that's different to the Shure's but welcome from my perspective. Most DJs in my experience end up weighting their carts higher than might be ideal, especially with the original 44Gs, which were supposed to be run at around 1.5 grams at the most. This also means that the tracking is excellent with both options, and I mean excellent. Weighted correctly, the SD Styli track superbly and stick to the groove really well, even in challenging conditions. Interestingly, the SD Styli are also a nude stylus type, like their more expensive brethren. But there is one big difference. The tip on the SDs is the same diameter as on the older bonded Styli at 0.25, as opposed to the smaller diameter of 0.12 on the nude ND Styli. This, I'm guessing, makes them more economical to produce, but it does mean there is a theoretical difference in sound quality between the two. The nude ND stylus should sit deeper into the grooves on your records and therefore extract more detail from the music. Is this the case in use? Well, there is a difference. When I recorded tracks in with both types of stylus, I could hear a slight improvement in detail with the ND Nude stylus, particularly with the mid-range. Vocals just shone a touch brighter. But is it a dramatic difference? Absolutely not. Certainly in a live DJing environment. I did some gigs with an SD on one deck and an ND on the other, and if it wasn't for the stylus colour making it obvious, I'd have struggled to tell you which was which. I do still think there is value in the ND versions. If the rest of your signal chain is high quality enough, then you will hear the improvements. But for most of us, in most environments, then the SD will do just fine, and indeed still matches or even surpasses the sound of the OG Shures to my ears. I mentioned the colour, and that's going to be a love it or hate it thing, I suspect. The SD version of the 44-7 is a solid light blue, and the 44G is a transparent blue. I like that transparent look better, and kind of wish it had been the other way around, but in general I have no argument with the idea of using colour in this way. The various Autophon Concorde models all come in different colours, and I don't see many complaints about that. As for durability, which I guess is the big question with this synthetic diamond technology, I'm very happy. I've had the SDs since January, and I wanted to get a decent amount of 45 sets done with them before passing judgment on how well they last, and I have no issues to report. Jico claim that the synthetic diamond should last just as long as the natural diamond equivalents, and so far I've seen nothing to make me doubt that claim. There's no sign of Q-burn, and they sound just as good as the day I got them. So finally we come to the biggest reason to buy the SD versions of these Styli, the price. They cost around $100 for a pair in the US, so $50 a piece. That's well in the ballpark for what I'd call affordable Styli in 2024, roughly the same as replacements for the Mark II Mix, Autophon's entry-level Concorde. With solid distribution in the US now from Mixware, good pricing and great performance, have Jico finally hit the real sweet spot for the 44 Styli replacement, which most DJs should buy? I think they have. So there you go, my thoughts on the SD replacement Styli for Shure M44 carts from Jico. I've always appreciated the thought and craftsmanship which comes from this Japanese company, and once again they've gone far beyond simply putting out generic replacement Styli to satisfy demand. They really do seem to care about making products which not only replace the originals, but in many ways improve upon them. I do still think there is a place for the ND or natural diamond versions of these. If sound quality is your absolute focus, then there is a slight difference between those and the SDs. But as far as I'm concerned, if I was shopping for 44 Styli replacements today, playing as I do 45s on all manner of sound systems and in all kinds of environments, then I would buy the SDs. They sound great, they track superbly well, they seem to last, and they're only $50 a pop. From now on, when anyone asks me which Styli they should buy for their 44s, I'm telling them these. In the comments, tell us about your experiences with Jico Styli. I'm sure lots of you have used them by now. And have you tried their carts as well? If not, what is your favourite cartridge for DJing otherwise? The market has changed massively over the past few years, so I'd love to hear what's working or not working for you. Thanks for watching this episode of Beatsource Tech. I do hope you've enjoyed it or found it useful. If you have, please give the video a thumbs up and make sure you subscribe to the channel so you don't miss any future videos. I'll see you next time.